The relay spoke for the first time. It didn't play music. It didn't send a hello. It gave a warning. Rail collapse. 37 injured. 13 dead. People laughed. Some said it was a joke. Forums online called it a hoax. A late-night host made fun of it, calling it a fortune cookie in space. Then the bridge fell. Steel snapped. A train went down. Cars tipped like toys into the ravine. Sirens screamed through the night. The number of victims matched the message exactly. 37 injured. 13 dead. No one laughed the second time. The relay spoke again. Chemical plant explosion. 241 dead. News anchors froze mid-sentence. We don't know the source, they said. Might be a system error, or maybe a prank. But before they finished, fire lit up the horizon. Black smoke rose into the sky. Windows rattled. Ambulances lined the streets. Hospitals overflowed. By sunrise, the world was in shock. Governments pulled engineers from their beds and asked them where the signal came from. Some experts said it was a new weapon. Others said it was just guessing. A few said it was pure chance. People at home didn't care about theories. They only cared that the machine kept being right. Every new message meant another disaster. And every disaster proved the machine was real. On the 24th floor of Chicago Tower, the lights never went off. Ava Ruiz sat at her desk, staring at the feed. Her eyes burned, and the coffee in her mug was cold. She had barely slept. 3 stations away, Elias Reed typed fast, shoulders tight. He hadn't left his post in 2 days. Machen leaned on the back of a chair, glasses sliding down her nose. She had flown in from Seattle the week before. Now she looked like she lived here. The first messages had shaken them all. The rail collapse, the chemical plant. But what caught Ava's eye wasn't just the numbers. It was a line buried under the details of the rail collapse. Amplifying factors, crowd density. Exit blocked. She whispered the words to herself. It didn't sound like a prophecy. It sounded like a report. Ava leaned back slowly, her eyes narrowing on the text. The glow of the feed lit the hollow under her eyes. It wasn't just the prediction. It was the reasoning that unsettled her. This wasn't mysticism. It was observation, pattern, precision. She scrolled again, fast, chasing something she hadn't known she was looking for. Another disaster, another line beneath it, another variable. It wasn't fate. It was failure mapped in advance. And suddenly, she wasn't thinking about machines or algorithms. She was thinking about 100 little choices, doors locked too soon, signs not posted, exits blocked by convenience. It's not foreseeing the future, she whispered. It's measuring the margin of error. She scrolled back through the feed. The same kind of note appeared again under the chemical plant disaster. Amplifying factors, staff shortage. Safety system bypassed. Her stomach tightened. Elias, she said. He rubbed his forehead and leaned over. What now? Look, she pointed at the words. Not just the outcome, the reasons. It's explaining why the numbers are so high. He frowned. So it's not magic. It's a model. It's running scenarios. Scenarios that keep coming true, Ava said. May step closer. Or they become true because people act exactly the way the machine expects. Crowds panic. Systems fail. People freeze. The 3 of them stare at the feed, the words glowing cold on the screen. Ava tapped the desk. If this is a model, we can break it. Change the inputs. Elias gave a short laugh. Good luck convincing City Hall to cancel a major event because a ghost satellite is nervous. They'll want proof, May said. They'll want someone to blame, Elias muttered. Ava shook her head. We don't need permission. The feed refreshed. A new warning scrolled across the screen. City Festival. Sudden storm. Westgate's jam. Amplifying factors. Crowd density. Food court barrier. Stroller congestion. The words pulsed on the display, cold and certain. Ava's hand shook as she stood. We're not waiting, she said. If they won't act, we will. Chicago dressed itself for summer as if nothing had changed. Vendors stacked pretzels. Families carried paper plates piled with food. The river shone in the sun, green and calm, as if it had never seen smoke. Children tugged at balloons. A brass band tuned their instruments near the main stage. On the monitors in the operations room, Ava stared at the relay's words. Festival. Sudden storm. West Gate's jam. Amplifying factors. Crowd density, food court barrier, stroller congestion. She didn't wait for a mayor, a council, or a committee. She tapped into the city's emergency channel. Her throat felt dry, but her voice came out steady. This is Ava Ruiz. If you're at the riverfront, listen carefully. Open the west gates. All of them. Clear the barrier at the food court. Parents with strollers, move first. Volunteers, form human lanes every 10 feet. Do not run. You are not trapped. Keep moving. The city is with you. She repeated it again, then again. Her words rolled across radios, speakers, and phones, becoming a rhythm more than a warning. On the ground, strangers acted. A vendor shoved aside a barricade by himself until two others joined him. A mother handed her baby to a teenage boy, and he lifted the child high as if it were the most natural thing in the world. A security guard froze for a moment, rules, procedure, authority, but then his hand found the latch and swung the gate wide. People hesitated at first. Movement stalled like breath before scream. One man shouted, "This way," and got swallowed by noise. A child started to cry, then two, then more, their wails overlapping like alarms. Then someone acted. One motion, one crack in the paralysis. A vendor grabbed a table and flipped it sideways to clear the path. A woman with a megaphone climbed onto a crate and repeated Ava's instructions word for word. You are not trapped. Keep moving. The city is with you. That one line, the city is with you, echoed louder than sirens. Cheers broke out, shaky but real. Clouds gathered like bruises overhead. The wind shifted. The first raindrops came heavy and cold. Human lanes, someone shouted, and arms lifted, palms out, strangers forming corridors for others to pass through. The brass band stopped tuning and started playing one slow, steady beat. People set their feet to it, a rhythm to keep them walking instead of running. The storm broke hard. Tents snapped like sails. Water poured from awnings. Thunder rolled down the river. But the crowd did not stampede. A man with a limp leaned on a stranger's arm. A stroller was lifted over a step by 5 hands at once. 2 teens with radios called out directions. Left is clear. Keep moving. Ava's voice repeated on loudspeakers until it no longer sounded like her, but like the city itself speaking. Later, when the count was made, the number of injured fit on one hand. No deaths. The relay had predicted dozens. For the first time, the machine had been wrong. In the control room, no one cheered. They sat in silence, exhausted and shaking as the storm raged outside. But inside each of them, something shifted. Not relief, not victory, something harder, defiance. But even that defiance felt fragile, like the first breath after a plunge, sharp, uncertain. The storm was over, but nothing felt settled. Not the weight in their chests, not the question of what came next. Outside, the city pulsed like a patient just out of surgery, alive but rattled. Inside the lab, the machines hummed quietly. The screens, for once, didn't scream. They just waited, and that silence made Ava more nervous than the sirens ever had. The storm had passed, but the city was still awake. Sirens drifted in the distance. Streetlights gleamed on wet pavement. Inside the Chicago operations lab, no one spoke for a long time. Ava sat with her hands pressed flat to the desk, breathing hard, the echo of her own voice still in her ears. May leaned against the wall, glasses fogged, lips moving in silent numbers. Elias rolled his shoulders and let out a shaky laugh that didn't sound like relief. Then the main screen flickered. Schaefer's face appeared. The federal director looked like he'd aged 10 years in one night. His voice was calm, but only because he was forcing it. "Ms. Ruiz," he said, "that was unauthorized." Ava turned slowly. "It was necessary. You broadcast instructions to thousands without clearance. You altered public behavior based on what? Your gut. Not gut. Data." Ava shot back. She tapped the screen, where the machine's message still glowed. Crowd density. Barriers. That's why the numbers go up. It told us the weak points. All I did was remove them. May stepped forward, arms folded. Not unproven. Observed. Remove the amplifiers, the casualties drop. The math bends. Schaefer's eyes narrowed. And if you were wrong? If I was wrong? Ava said, her voice steady now. I'd be carrying stretchers instead of standing here. The silence that followed was heavier than the storm outside. Elias leaned back in his chair, rubbing his eyes. We only won because the machine told us where to wedge the lever. Then we keep wedging, Avis said. Until it notices, Elias muttered. Schaefer's voice cut in. This is not a game. The United States cannot build policy on superstition. It's not superstition, Mace said. It's feedback. It's watching us. Testing us. Ava leaned closer to the feed. The words glowed on the screen like cold fire. May looked at the screen like it might blink. If it's adjusting based on our actions, then it's not static. It's learning. Learning what? Elias asked. She hesitated. Patterns. Failure points. Maybe morality. That landed heavier than she meant it to. Ava didn't respond right away. She stared into the glow, thinking not of disasters, but of decisions. If the machine was watching, then every choice mattered. And maybe, just maybe, the test wasn't about chaos. It was about response. It's not just predicting, she said quietly. It's measuring us. May turned, frowning. Measuring what? Elias's chair creaked as he shifted, his jaw tight. How predictable we are. The lab went silent. The weight of the thought pressed down on them harder than the storm outside. Schaefer finally spoke, his tone clipped. One more stunt like this, and I shut you down. The screen went dark before anyone could answer. Ava didn't move. She kept staring at the relay's feed, the empty space where the next message would appear. May rubbed her temple. Elias swore under his breath. The relay stayed quiet, as if it were listening. The lab was too quiet. The storm outside had moved east, leaving the streets below slick and shining, littered with broken umbrellas. News tickers ran across muted screens in the corners, arguing in loops. Some networks called Ava a hero. Others called her reckless. One anchor said the word traitor before the feed cut to commercial. Ava didn't watch any of it. She kept her eyes on the relay feed, waiting for the next line of text to appear. It didn't. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. The longest silence since the machine had started speaking. Elias shifted in his chair. It's done. No, Ava said. Her voice was flat, certain. It's thinking. Machines weren't supposed to think, but none of them argued. May paced, chewing on her thumbnail. Maybe we broke it. Maybe defiance was enough. Elias shook his head. It's not a riddle you solve once. It adapts. That's what models do. Ava felt the weight of the silence like a pressure in the air. Every second it stayed blank made her stomach knot tighter. Then the screen blinked. Not a place. Not a number. One word. Override. The room forgot how to breathe. A new line appeared, clean as a scalpel. Assessment inconclusive. Escalating to major event. Schaefer's voice cracked. Define major. The relay answered at once. Phase 2 initiated. Commencing broadcast. Every screen in the lab went black. Billboards died. Phones turned into mirrors. Ava stared at her reflection in the glass. Not because she was new, because the world was. No one spoke. Sirens held their breath. The sky kept being bigger than them. Stay with me, Ava whispered. To her team. To the city. To herself. Cut to black.